Hello, everybody. How are you? I'm trying something different today, and I'm a little bit sorting out the tech in the background here. I decided that, hey, Mitch, how you going? I have decided that I'm going to do this webinar today as a, oops, hang on, back to front here. I'm going to do this webinar as a live Zoom, but also interactive. So let's try that way so you guys can see me as I'm speaking, because there's going to be other people joining us. I don't know who. It's all a little bit, work it out as you go along, but Mitch is obviously in here. Thank you, Mitch. But I've had other people message and say that they will hop in as well. So I'm going to pin me here so that those people coming in doesn't mess everything up. And hopefully those of you who can see this can let me know. Now, let me just get my Facebook open here to make sure that's working okay. Yes. All right. Now, if you happen to be watching this on Facebook, you are more than welcome to jump in. Mitch, would you mind dropping the Zoom link into the chat for those people who on Facebook, so that people, if they see this, can hop into the actual Zoom and take part and interact with us, please?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. So if you want to jump in and join us, please do. If you want to receive the recording later on, let us know and we can get that through to you. But this is going to be the last of the webinars that I have planned for this year that I will be sharing free on my page like this as a live. My intention is to still do webinars, but they will only be opened for the people who actually come into the Zoom with me, and then I will share recordings if needed. So if you want the content that the type of content that I'm sharing, just keep your eyes open for that. We will be doing them once a month. The intention is to share them well in advance. We've just been on a little bit of a scramble with a slight change in direction and some other things happening in the background in and amongst my world. So we haven't promoted this quite as much as we would expect. However, going forwards, the plan is to promote to have details of the webinars up for quite a period of time before they're actually done, so that you've got time to allocate space in your calendar and get into those Zooms and take advantage of that. All right, now, so hopefully that's the housekeeping taken care of. If anyone, I do have my Facebook open here on my phone. So if anyone is watching live and wants to ask some questions, I'm checking down here and we'll address those as I can. The other thing that's going to happen is I'm going to share my screen in a little while. Now, my screen that I'm sharing is actually on a second monitor over here, and that monitor doesn't have a camera on it. So when I'm referring to that monitor, I'll be looking here and I'll look like I'm ignoring you. I'm kind of not. This is just the way that my setup is in my office. And I don't know how to do extra video cameras and stuff. So this is what we have. Okay. All right. I can see that somebody is watching on Facebook. I'm not sure who that is, but hello. Please jump in and say hello and let us know who you are and where you are watching from. And if you want to hop into the live, please do into the actual Zoom so that you can take part and ask questions, face to face. Please do that. As people jump in, if you will come in and be muted automatically because of the settings in my Zoom. But if you want to ask questions, please just unmute and take part. Say hello and ask the questions as we go through. All right, let's jump into this. Now, today's webinar is all about how to create a dream board in minutes. Why do we want to do that? Because sometimes we're just a little bit time poor. Sometimes we need a little bit of an update and being able to create a dream board that is effective but doesn't take a massive amount of time is sometimes really relevant to our lives. Now, the thing is that there's a time and a place. If you have watched, like worked with me or have looked at any of my content, you will know that I run Dreamboard workshops on a regular basis, and those workshops take 4 or 5 hours. Now, often people will go out of those workshops and still not actually have a completely finalized dream board. There will still be work to do, because the nature of those workshops is that they are a really significant deep dive into the life that you want to create. It's about helping you discover your purpose and define what that dream life really looks like, and then creating a visual to represent that. Not everybody's got 5 hours. Some people just need a little bit of a refresh, or maybe, hello, Diane. Maybe you just want to create another version of a dream board that you can use in different, in a different context. Perhaps it's about being able to create a version of it that you can use on a phone or in some other sort of digital, some other digital platform. So what I want to do right now is show you a way of creating a really effective dream board, but very, very quickly, so that it's kind of like a summary. Maybe it's about the key points that are on your main dream board. Maybe it's the short-term focus. How you use this will be up to you. I know some people will create like a whole life dream board, like on a, say, annual basis, because I do recommend that you do that either on, like, review this on an annual basis, or when you have a big change in your life, but at least annually. Other people, and then some people will take that big overview board and then make other little boards like the one that I'm about to show you how to create, and do that on, say, a monthly basis to help with your focus as you progress throughout the year and working on achieving all those goals. But let me share. So Diana, I can see that you're watching here on Facebook, and there's some other people as well. If you want to hop into the Zoom, Mitch has shared the Zoom link there so that you can hop in there and ask questions. I'm checking backwards and forwards between the two. And Sharon has joined us, but no one else will see her because of the way that I've got my settings. But hi. Sharon, please, if you've got some questions, just unmute and ask as we go along. But I'm going to share my screen with you and show you what I do to create a super quick dream board. Like I said, keep in mind you need to have a clear mental picture of what you want before you go into this step, because the more clear you are mentally, the more effective any visual board will be that you create. So how that works, look, we can, if you want to discuss that further, that's a conversation that we can have beyond the webinar. And obviously this is, I hope obviously, this is something that I am very passionate about. It's why I'm here. If you want to have a chat, very happy to do that. But let me share with you my screen to begin with. Where am I going here? I'm just going to share that bit. All right, let me see how we're going here. There's a little bit of a delay into Facebook, but hopefully, can you see Canva there on my screen right now? Awesome. Thank you very much for that, Mitch. Okay. Yes, I use Canva. Why? It's really easy. They have got so many things. There's so many resources in Canva that you can use. There are a million platforms. You can go with something that's more organic if you want to. I'm not an expert in Canva. I just find it a very, very useful tool. It takes a little while to get used to it to begin with, but my goal with this is to show you how you can use Canva quite effectively to create a dream board. And the thing that I love about Canva is once you've got your design created, if you need to change sizes and stuff, there are ways that you can do that within Canva itself. It will change them for you automatically, and then you can just tweak that. So there are 2 versions of Canva that you can have. You can have the free version or you can have the paid version. Now, to my knowledge, in the free version, you can actually access everything in the paid version, but there'll be some photos that are available in the free and some that are available in paid, and you'll have to pay per item in the paid version. Whereas because I pay a subscription, we use it in my business literally every day that something is created. So I don't have to, like, I pay a monthly subscription and don't need to pay for per item. So you should be able to see that. I'll show you, there's a little crown that shows up on things that are for the pro version or the paid version, that if you only have free Canva, you'll need to pay for that. But it's like there's still bunches of stuff that you'll be able to do even if you are using the free version of this. So this is Canva homepage. When you go into there, you can see down here we've got designs that I've been working on, because I did actually get some stuff started to kind of streamline this. But let me just show you through where I've gone to create a vision board. The first thing you want to do is come across here onto the left-hand side and go to templates. Why? There's thousands of templates in Canva, literally thousands. This is just some of the summaries, and up here they've already got vision board. Now, I actually chose to use DREAMBOARD. Dreams to me are, if you think about the kind of progression, dreams are the big overarching stuff. And then you, from the dream, you come down to the vision, and then down to the goals, and then down to the daily activities. So I've chosen DREAMBOARD, but so when you click on this, I don't even know how many templates there are, right? There are so many different ones here. All of these are available. If you see this little crown thing here, can you see that in the corner there? And over here, these are pro ones, whereas this one here, it doesn't have it. That's a free one. So that will be the difference. If you've got a free Canva account, you'll be able to use that without any cost. If you choose to use this version, you'll need to pay something for it. I don't know how much it is. That's for Canva to work out with you. But this is why I have chosen to pay for the subscription, because then I can just use this and like I don't have to worry about additional expenses. So what your dream board looks like, that's up to you. Maybe you come into something that's like almost like this one over here, that's kind of like a graphic design kind of thing, if that's the way that your brain works. If you have done the workshop with me, you'll see that you'll know that one of the steps that we go through is we go through the wellness wheel. Hey, Mrs. Clark. You'll see that you'll know that we go through the wellness wheel. We also talk about the Ikigai, and we talk about the Bagua map from Feng Shui. I have seen clients use all three of those as foundations for the shape of their dream board, and for the shape of how they position their images. But also some other people will just put things on their board in a kind of organic, random way. Whatever works for you is perfect. That's all there is to it. Whichever of these, if you choose to use a template, just pick one that works for you, that makes you feel good inside. A really big part of having a truly effective dream board is about listening to your intuition, listening to when, as you're looking at images, you will have some kind of body response to images. Some of them you'll love, some of them you'll hate, some will make you happy, some will make you fearful. Choose the ones that give you the positive feelings that you want, those things that you want to bring more of into your life. They're the images that are giving you what you need. And similarly, in terms of the shape of like what your actual vision board or dream board looks like, choose what works for you, what makes sense to your brain. Now, when I go into creating an actual physical dream board, and I've done so many of these now, I'll go through a process. Because I do this on a regular basis, I'll just gradually accumulate images from wherever, however, typically like pulling them out of magazines and those sorts of things, because I do have a strong preference for creating physical boards over electronic boards, but I'll touch on that later. But once I've got all those images together, I still get overwhelmed with how to make it look and feel right. So I actually use the Bagua map from Feng Shui to guide me in my image placement. So if I go back to where I was with the screen before, when I went through all of these earlier and to choose a template that made sense to my brain, I ended up choosing, if I can find it, I ended up choosing this one. Now let me zoom that up a little bit more. There's just something about this shape. Now, if you have a look at the shape of that template, it's quite like it's probably proportionate to, say, a phone screen. Okay. If you have a look at the number of images on that dream board versus what you would put onto a big physical board, there's not very many there. But also, if I want to translate that to my phone so that I can use this as the wallpaper on my phone screen, I need a few less images so that I can see them all quite easily. So this is the template, and literally all I did was I went from wherever it happens to be here, clicked on that, right? Let's just say this one here, because I don't know where it actually is. So I clicked on that one. It says here, customize template. Remember, this is the pro one, so keep that in mind if you've got the free version and you're conscious of dollars here. And then you just customize the template. It'll open in a fresh page, and there you go. You have access to it. Okay, very simple process. Now, let me go back to the one that I was actually using. These images have been dropped in there by Canva to give you an idea. Now, as I said before, like to use the Bagua map to guide me. Now, this is what the Bagua map looks like. I'm happy to share this with people if you would like that. It comes from Feng Shui. Hi, Kirsty. It comes from Feng Shui. It guides it's about the flow of energy in traditional Chinese thinking. But it makes sense to my brain, and I've used it very effectively in a few different ways in my life. And so it's something that I'm not a Feng Shui expert. I just use it because it works and it makes sense to me. If you want to really dig deeply into this, I know Feng Shui experts that I can, Feng Shui masters that I can pass you on to. However, this is, if you look at that map there's 9 sections. You can very easily sort of break this particular vision board up into 9 different areas. Now, this top image here, if you look at when you've got a template like this top section in that is wealth. Now, what I don't think that this image here, as lovely as it is, it doesn't really resonate with me, right? So I'm going to change that. Come down here to the left-hand side of your screen. Yes, I get my left and right mixed up. On that side, you can see you can import a whole heap of different things. What you can see in this section that I'm looking at the moment is uploads. These are images that myself or my team have loaded into Canva already. But if you come down to here, there's a thing called, it just says photos. These are all photos that Canva have provided for you. And I'm just going to type into here the word wealth. And it will come up with a whole bunch of different suggestions. There are, like, the list just keeps on growing, honestly. There are so many different options. My suggestion is that you scroll through until you find an image that gets something running in your brain, or that you get some kind of body response to, something that is important, that is obviously tweaking your own intuition. So I've actually used this image previously. So one of the things that I really love about having Canva and other platforms like this is I can take this image and then print it out and use it on a physical board as well if I want to. But let's have a look at this one. So I'm in a process of growth right now with my family business, and I really like the idea of this one. So if I get this image, and I've literally just clicked on it over here, if you just click on it, it'll drop it in like this, right? I'm just going to delete that because I want to show you something. If I click and hold with my mouse and drag it across into that section, it kind of snaps into position in that little section in the template. All right, now if I double click that, you can see that this is the entire image that's come across from Canva, from that sort of basic image. You can't take it any smaller when you're working with a template like this, but you can drag it bigger so that you'll have maybe less hands and more of the image or something like that, because this image is quite, it hasn't got a background there. So you can rearrange it so that this works better for you in the template. You can also shift things, like rearranging sizes of things. Like literally there are so many things you can do within Canva, it's not funny. But it's one of the things that I really love. The other thing is to look at I guess, is as you're going through, is to have a look at, if you have a look, okay, let me just stop for myself for a minute. This top right corner, this is the wealth and prosperity corner according to the Bhagwan map. We don't really have a fame and social life space in this particular map, but you can work that into other places. It doesn't have to, or you can change what this looks like. You don't need to use this. You could like take this whole section out, double it if you want to, right? It's up to you. Canva is very, very flexible. It can be very frustrating if you don't know how to make it work, but literally you can't break anything. One of the things that you might like to do is, and I did this earlier, was like you can get this screen and click this one here that says duplicate page. See how right now up on the top left it says page 1 Dreamboard? If I duplicate the page, I've now got page 2 Dreamboard. It's exactly the same. So now you can just leave one sit there. I'm going to leave page 2 to its, like, just sit there and mull around for a little while. And I'm going to come back to page 1 and I'm going to start playing with it. And I'm going to start rearranging things and see what I can change. And if I break it, I've got another version to go back to. All right. But in that top corner, top right corner is marriage, relationships and partnerships. Well, this image to me doesn't speak to that. I'm on the wrong one. I need to go to page 1. All right, this to me doesn't say marriage, relationships or partnerships. And so I'm going to come back here again and I'm going to find, let's just say relationships right now. Make sure that I type correctly. And here we have a whole lot more images coming up. So there are so many different things, whether it's about a family, it's about building relationships, maybe it's about pulling someone into your life, or, you know, attracting someone into your life to share your world with. Maybe it's about your relationship with self that you want to work on. Whatever your focus is up to you. I really like this image here. There's a few different ones in here I like. There was one back up here that I particularly loved. Let me just go back to it. Where is it? There we go. That one there. I like that. Oops, that's not where I wanted it to be. Let's just Control Z this for a little bit and try that again. Control Z is amazing. Saves my bacon so many times. But if you have a look at that again, it's snapped it into position. I'm not particularly happy with the size of that. So let's go back more to here. I like that. It represents a relationship. It's something that, you know, for those of you who know, I've been married for 23 years now, happily married and happy to stay that way, and want, but also know that I need to continue to work on our relationships so that continues. So, you know, putting something like that into there is very relevant for me as a human being. But there's so many other ways that you know, you could have something that's more along this line if you wanted to use as a relationship. I don't know. It depends where you are in your life and if you're going to use the Bhagwan map and if you need a relationship thing up in that, a relationship image up in that section, where's your focus? You know, is it on, so let me go back, scroll in the right position. So my suggestion is that you just take the time to make sure that those images that are up there are exactly what you want. Something I did want to share with you is if you have a look at this image here about, I mean, I see that one there as being around travel, right? So if you have a look at the shape of that image to begin with, the whole image is much bigger than what's there. Now, I really like the idea of this. Let me zoom that up so you can see it a little bit better, because I do understand that on a phone it's quite small. If you have a look at that image there, I like this concept of what I assume is a lady on a solo journey with her very cool retro suitcase, right? But I don't like the idea of walking along a road like that by herself. Doesn't excite me at all. So what you can do is, if we double click on this one and we edit the photo, that's not what I've wanted to do. There we go. When you've got this square highlighted where that image is, click on edit the photo. There's a whole lot of tools in Canva that you can use to adjust the images. And what I want to do is actually take away that background. So see this BG remover? I'm just going to click on that, and it takes away the key parts of the background. And I really like this becomes almost solitary. Maybe you want to then put that over a footpath or something that you prefer the look of. But there's so many different ways you can now take this and sort of layer it over something else to put a different background in there if you would like. There's so many different things that you can play with in Canva. It can absolutely become a rabbit warren if you choose it. The other thing to think about is when you are creating dream boards is this one has this vision board 23 on it. I don't need a vision board. I don't need that to remind me of where I'm up to. So I'm just going to select these and click on delete, and they're gone. Right? I'm not completely against using words, but I think they've got to be words that inspire you. New dishes, yeah, sure, I'd like to go to a new restaurant, but I don't need something like new dishes. Maybe it's more about experimenting, or I haven't actually worked out what to put in here. So we click on here. If you want to put in different words, now that I've completely gotten rid of that text, we just go across to here and click on the text box. And I'm going to say, this is from my branding stuff, or you can come down here and use all sorts of wonderful suggestions from Canva. But I'm going to use this one that's add a subheading in my branding and just say, let's just say great food and company. And obviously this has got to be a lot smaller to be able to fit into there. Honestly, if I was doing this myself, I would probably even go and change that graphic. It's not my style of things, but for the sake of this today, look, it does the job, is what it comes down to. But by doing this, if we've got great food and company, then that ties this image of the relationship one with this idea from the original board of what do they have there? Great dishes or something. Anyway, you see what I'm talking about? Like, you can change everything, make it work for exactly what you want. Now, are there limitations to this? Absolutely there are. We are doing a super quick version here. This particular style of vision board is very, like, this is not about going back in and working out where you're, like, what the cornerstone parts of your life are. This is for those people who are clear on that and need the next steps. How do we break this down into something that's more usable on a regular basis? Is it useful? Absolutely. Is it going to give you all the answers you're chasing? No. This is a quick version. If for those of you who are looking for help to get more and more information, to get more depth of understanding of what you want for yourself and your own life, I do have a regular workshop. My Dream Board workshop is happening next Saturday, the 13th of January. That will start at 11 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. So that's Queensland time zone. And I will share the link up to that workshop. We're just finalising a couple of details in the background, but I'll share the link to that workshop in this in the chat from this live, so that if you want to get into that you can, to get you that the deeper understanding, I guess, and knowledge for what it is that you truly want for your world. Now I'm just going to come back and check questions just for a second. Oops, wrong spot. That's not where I wanted to be either. All right. So no questions in there to look at the moment. So a couple of key things to think about. Creating a visual like this. Oh, I said I was going to touch on why I'm a big fan of physical dream boards versus electronic ones. When you are working out what you want for your life, what your dream life looks like, and how to get from where you are right now to that place, it's really important to engage every part of your being that you possibly can. What I find is, in the process of creating a board, if we create a electronic board, we don't have the body connection that is required to kind of bring in all of who you are. There's a place for an electronic board, but if you are working out who you want to become, what you're trying to work towards, if you are still trying to get clear on what that dream life looks like for you, a physical dream board where you sit down with a bunch of magazines and look for images, and then after you've done a little bit of, so in the process of my workshop, I get you to go backwards and assess your history. I get you to assess your present, and I get you to design your future. And we do all of this work that's around journaling and dreaming before we ever pick up a magazine and start looking for actual images, because it's really important for you to be clear in here, in your mind's eye, as to what you want before you start trying to make a physical representation of that. Because what we create in our dream board, what we put onto our dream board is what our subconscious is going to go looking for. When you put your dream board in a location that is an effective place for it to be, and we touch on those details in the workshop as well, your subconscious mind will go looking for it whether you want it to or not, and you will create these things in your world. And I have discovered, I've watched it happen in my own life. I've got a couple of dream boards that I've created quite a long time ago, and so much of it has come into reality. And there's a couple of things on there that I'm like, this is kind of like, when I created those boards, I knew that there was a couple of images that were not completely as I wanted them to be. But I left them there because of the flip side of the significance of why I chose them in the first place. And the negatives of that image have come true as well as the positives. Everything about what I've been looking for has come to fruition from those boards. So because I chose a image that was substandard, I have ended up with a result that is also partially substandard. So it's very, very important to be very clear on what you want, so that you can then find the images that are truly representative of that, so that then as your subconscious mind goes to work to help you bring those dreams into reality, and while you are doing the work, that you get all of what you want and none of what you don't. So why is that relevant in choosing electronic versus digital? Often when we are looking for images, or looking for, if you're sitting there looking through a magazine, you don't know what's on the next page. You may be looking at I don't know, I've got a bazillion Better Homes and Gardens sort of style, not necessarily that, but like Home Beautiful and all these sorts of things, because I'm in a phase where I want to make my house more beautiful. It's a big focus for me. But I've turned the page and then here's this amazing view, and I'm like, oh, that'd be a great holiday spot. Right. One of the images that is now core to my marketing in terms of looking at my ideal client came out of an advertisement. Now, if I went on to Google and searched for an image, it's on the nature of a Google search is that you start with a keyword and it narrows down your focus. The nature of a magazine is that you open a book and then it throws all these ideas at you, because it's so varied across the entire magazine. So the magazines give you ideas, will help you to expand your thinking, can help you to get clearer on what you want, particularly in those little areas of your life where it's like, oh, I kind of want this, but I'm not really sure. Going through that process of finding those images will help you to refine what you're actually looking for. Whereas, I find with a Google search, I mean, never mind the whole copyright issues, etc., that can come out of it, but I find Google searches, and unless you know exactly what you're looking for me, they frustrate me. It's very rare that it will throw up a different image to me that is, if I'm not clear on what I want in the first place, it's rare that I'll do a Google search and then end up finding what I actually need. So keep that in mind as you are going through this process. If you are unsure of where you want to be, if there are still some areas that are kind of cloudy for you, this style of dream board is down the track for you. What you need to do, what I recommend that you do first, is something like my workshop, where you get into that deeper, solid understanding of where you're going, so that then later, when you're taking that big picture vision, once you've got that work that's come out of the dream board and that really clear visual of where you're going, when you want to break it down, a dream board like one of these that I've just shown you, that is quick and is electronic and is smaller, that's like the next step. It's the progression. If you build a house, I spoke about this in a live earlier this morning. If you're going to build a house, we start with the foundations and all those plans, and then we go forwards and we refine it and choose all the different things. The dream boards that I do that come out of what people do in my workshops with me are like the architectural plans. And then this style of dream board, these quicker ones, are more like your mood board for your kitchen design, right? That's got your tiles and your door handles and your cupboard colors. So they're important. They have their place in the progression. But this style of dream board that I've just shown you is more for that refining process, if you really want it to be truly effective for you. So I hope that makes sense. And I hope that's helped some of you. If you've got questions about how to make this work better for you, how to get clearer on your dreams and your desires and what it is that you want from your life, reach out. We are here to help. But I want to say thank you for those of you who have been on and watching today, and thank you to Sharon and Mitch for being in the live with me. And thank you to my dog, who's now barking in the background and saying hello to everybody. At least she waited until the end. But look, have an amazing day. Have a go at this. Give it a bash. Make sure you do a duplicate so you can mess it all up and start again on the next page if you have something that you really love. Give me a bell if you've got any questions, and hop into my workshop next Saturday if you really want to get absolutely clear on the life that you're working on creating, or if your dream board is at least 12 months old and needs a refresh. I'll post the details as quickly as we can, but for now I'm going to say thank you very much for being here, and bye from me.